Imagine waking up, doing your hair in this signature high ponytail, putting on your usual makeup, and heading out the door, only to get hit with a massive cease and desist letter.
Yeah, which is just wild to even think about.
Right. Like this legal threat is basically claiming that your face, your hair, and your clothes are an illegal infringement on a trademark brand. And imagine that brand is an actual living billionaire pop star.
It sounds like the plot of some dystopian sci-fi movie.
It really does. You're effectively being legally barred from looking like yourself because yourself has become completely indistinguishable from one of those famous women on the planet. Welcome to today's deep dive, where we are getting into one of the most bizarre and frankly psychologically complex feuds in modern pop culture.
The escalating battle between Ariana Grande and her most, infamous lookalike, Paige Niemann. And we're not just rehashing petty internet drama here. This is actually a really fascinating case study in parasocial relationships and what happens to your digital identity when things go too far.
Exactly. Our mission today is to explore that super blurry and sometimes genuinely dangerous line between innocent admiration and straight-up identity theft. Because what starts as a pretty harmless fan cosplay story just completely spirals into secret adult websites, legal threats, and this really messy family drama.
And to really understand how this feud got so incredibly toxic, we have to start at the beginning, like the exact moment the idol actually reached out to the superfan.
Yes, the infamous 2019 DMs.
Right. So in 2019, Paige was just 15 years old, and Ariana actually sent her a direct message. And it was, polite, but very pointed.
What did she say exactly?
Ariana told her that she was, quote, very beautiful as yourself. And she actually put as yourself in all caps, basically saying, without all the makeup, you don't need to try to look like someone else.
Which honestly sounds like a really nice, graceful, boundary-setting moment from a huge star.
It does. And Paige responded really respectfully, too. She said it was just for entertainment purposes only, to which Ariana seemingly gave her stamp of approval. She said she was proud of her and even offered her a hug if Paige ever came to a sweetener show.
Okay, so hugs and pride, very sweet. But then, literally the very next day, the switch-up happens.
The massive switch-up, yeah.
Suddenly, Ariana is on Twitter, and she's replying to fans who are just dragging Paige online. Ariana's posting these annoyed GIFs. She's saying like, ooh, I want to block you so bad. And she even complains about the, quote, traumatic image of TikTok performers wearing her signature boots.
Which is such a harsh pivot from offering someone a hug.
It's insane. It's like when a boss gives you this glowing, super sportive performance review right to your face, but then the next day you catch them venting about you at the water cooler to everybody else in the office.
That is a perfect analogy.
So I have to ask, was Ariana just being completely fake in those DMs? Or did the sheer scare of what Paige was doing just suddenly hit her?
I think it's the latter. You have to remember, Ariana was specifically bothered by Paige blending her real-life current aesthetic with her old Nickelodeon character, Cat Valentine, because Paige had dyed her hair red.
Oh, right. The red hair.
Yeah, so Paige was taking the red hair from a teenager character Ariana played years ago, but pairing it with the thigh-high boots and the really mature aesthetic of the sweetener era.
Oh, wow. That's got to be so jarring.
It creates this temporal collapse that pushes the whole thing straight into the uncanny valley. It's not just flattering anymore. It's tricking the brain's facial recognition software just enough to trigger this deep evolutionary alarm bell.
It's like seeing a ghost of your past stitched together with your present. I would probably call that a traumatic image too, honestly. But, from that messy, two-faced Twitter interaction, things escalate. We cross over from this sort of innocent teenage cosplay into something that totally shatters legal and moral boundaries.
Yeah, because to understand the depth of the obsession here, we need to look at how far back this goes. Paige was first told she looked like Ariana by some boy on the playground when she was just 10 years old.
Just 10. That is so young to start building an entire identity around someone else.
Exactly, and she fully committed to it. Over the years, she amassed 10.8 million followers on TikTok just by mimicking Ariana. She matched the red hair, the brown ponytail. She even went blonde recently for the whole Wicked era.
She is incredibly dedicated to the bit. I will give her that. But then comes the absolute breaking point. When Paige turns 18, she starts an adult content page.
Right. And she doesn't just start an adult content page. She does it while actively dressed up as Ariana Grande.
Which, you can imagine the massive backlash that caused. Critics were immediately pointing out the genuine danger here. You have all these creeps online blurring the lines between Paige and the actual, real Ariana Grande.
And that is exactly the point where Ariana allegedly got her lawyers involved to have Paige's social media accounts banned because the stakes had totally shifted.
And Paige didn't even stop there. She recently showed up to a Wicked movie premiere attempting to look exactly like Ariana, and she was literally confusing the press on the red carpet.
Which is the smoking gun legally.
Okay, so this brings up a huge ethical and legal question for you.
Yeah.
Where is the actual line here? Like, if someone naturally shares a facial resemblance with a celebrity, can they be stopped from monetizing it, even in the adult industry? Or does the costume and the specific styling make it a clear-cut case of identity infringement?
It's definitely the styling. Legally, you can't be sued just for having a similar bone structure, but courts look at the aggregate of the presentation. If you adopt the trademarked high ponytail, the exact winged eyeliner, the specific wardrobe, you are actively packaging and selling someone else's brand equity.
Got it. So it's the intent to deceive.
Exactly. In trademark law, it's called likelihood of confusion. And the fact that press members at a major movie premiere were confused, that proves the presentation is deceptive enough to fool a reasonable observer. When you dilute a family-friendly brand with unauthorized adult content, the financial damages can be astronomical.
So if you're Paige, how do you even come back from having your accounts legally threatened by the very star that you emulate? Like, what do you do?
Well, apparently, you try to reclaim the narrative, which brings us to one of the most surreal pieces of media I think I've ever seen.
Oh, you mean the documentary?
Yes, Paige's bizarre independent docuseries called Trending the Paige. It was distributed to platforms like Amazon Prime, and it is just a fascinating study in cognitive dissonance.
It really is. I mean, in the doc, Paige outright denies being an impersonator. She literally refuses to say Ariana's name. She just bizarrely refers to her as, quote, you-know-who.
Like Voldemort.
It's exactly like Voldemort. And she includes these completely staged scenes of her reacting to her accounts getting banned. It's so weird. But the craziest part is what the documentary accidentally reveals about her life.
The family dynamics.
Yes, these really intense, dark family realities. Like,
Yeah.
there's this highly uncomfortable scene where her estranged, clearly inebriated father shows up to a runway show.
And that messy dynamic totally spills over online, too. Her family's digital footprint is incredibly combative. You have Paige's mom in comment sections constantly attacking Ariana, calling her a hypocrite.
Yeah, doesn't she claim Ariana copies Audrey Hepburn?
Yes. She says Ariana steals her style from Audrey Hepburn and Victoria Monet. And then you have Paige's grandma chiming in, claiming Paige looks like this naturally, and she's defending Paige with this really bad grammar, insisting that Ariana should actually be, quote, flattered.
This whole thing feels like wild psychological projection to me. The family is fiercely defending Paige's right to, be herself by aggressively accusing Ariana of copying other people. It's a total defense mechanism.
Oh, absolutely. When your formative years, literally from age 10, are spent meticulously mirroring another human being for millions of spectators online, you don't develop your own identity. The Ariana persona is the only structural, load-bearing pillar of Paige's ego at this point.
Right. If she admits it's just a costume, her entire personality architecture collapses.
Exactly. She literally doesn't know who she is without it. And meanwhile, Ariana is handling this decade-long shadow in a very specific way.
Oh, you're talking about the lie detector test?
Yeah, during a recent Wicked promo tour, Ariana was asked during a polygraph if she had ever confronted an impersonator.
She said no, right?
She said no, which is physically true, but she added that she wanted to, quote, in a fun way.
In a fun way. That is such a loaded phrase. It is the ultimate power move. She is so aware of the decade of legal headaches, the adult content scandals, the press confusion. But by saying she wants to confront her in a fun way, she completely strips Paige of being any kind of real threat.
She reduces this massive 10-year identity crisis into just a trivial little amusement for the actual star.
Which really highlights the core tragedy here, right? Remind yourself where this started. It was a fun hobby for a 10-year-old girl that just morphed into this all-consuming lifestyle that ultimately alienated the very person she admired so much.
That's the danger of the digital age. It encourages us to monetize our quirks, but sometimes at the cost of our own authentic selves. The algorithm rewarded Paige with 10 million followers for never growing out of a phase.
It traps you.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with this really lingering, provocative thought. In a world where digital identity is basically everything, if you spend an entire decade meticulously perfecting the exact mirror image of someone else.
What happens to the person underneath when the costume finally comes off?
Exactly. Do they even know who they are anymore, or is the mirror just completely empty? It's something to definitely mull over the next time you're curating your own digital persona.